Monday, November 10th, our student government will be collecting non-perishable food items for our Thanksgiving food drive. Students will be able to drop their items off in the main office, guidance office, the library, and the rooms of their class advisors. We will be collecting items until Friday, November 21st.
Each grade level will be assigned a specific item. Seniors will bring canned vegetables, juniors will bring canned cranberries, sophomores will bring instant mashed potatoes, and freshmen will bring stovetop stuffing. The class with the most items donated at the end will be awarded $500 towards their class.
Wonderful. Any questions? Thank you. May I have a motion to approve our minutes for the October 15th, 2025 regular meeting?
So moved.
Any amendments or additions? Not. Any amendments or additions? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. We have our superintendent's report. Dr. Duca.
Thank you very much. Tonight we have our special education administrators here to present on special education updates and goals. So come on up. We have Dr. Sisk, Alicia Backus, and Jolene Hansen tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jolene Hansen. I'm the Assistant Director at the elementary level. We're going to start off with our accomplishments for the year, and last year as well. We updated the continuum of services at both levels, and I will talk about those in just a minute. We've continued streamlining of processes and procedures to increase efficiency and ensure compliance with the Individual with Disabilities Education Act and the New York State Education Department, Parts 200 and 201. We've completed the State Performance Plan Indicator 13, the transition in the IEP audit. We've collaborated with the Director of Curriculum, Assessment, and Instruction to support English language learners. We've initiated the transition to a digital evaluation measures to increase efficiencies in the evaluation process. We've held parent workshops. We've held administrator training on the Individual with Disabilities Education Act and state regulations and compliance. For trainings, we've held the trauma sensitivity training. We did a special education 101, which is just kind of the basics of special education. We did the New York State alternate assessment training for our 12-1 teachers. Regulations related to timeout, restraint, and special education with our attorneys. We held a literacy training for all of our special education teachers, a de-escalation strategies training. We did some trainings in the district for empowering every learner, best practices for supporting special education students. We also held one on promoting improved sensory regulation at school. We worked on supporting students to manage their behavior and build independence, professionalism in the workplace. We did a social emotional learning training for all elementary social workers. And then we did the State Performance Plan Indicator 13 training transition to the IEP. For our continuum of services, at the elementary level, things that have changed this year, we now have a DCT classroom at Malta in kindergarten, and will increase every year to the next grade level until we get all the way up to 5th grade. We continue our special class reading 15-1 program in grades 2 through 5 in schools. Our special class 15-1, 2 through 5. We have our behavior management 812 classes, K5. We have our 12-1-1 classrooms, K5. Our move room, K12. Resource room, 2 through 5. This year we have our direct consultant teaching plus intensive math support. We had that at Malta. This year we included it at our complex in Milton Terrace, Wood Road, and Gordon Creek. And we have our autism 612 room, which this year was grades 1 through 4. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dane.
Thank you. All right. Good evening, everybody. So continuing with the secondary continuum, we've, over the past few years, spent quite a bit of time updating and modifying the continuum to ensure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students. So there aren't as many changes now because we have a really solid continuum in place. But at the middle school, we provide integrated co-teaching support for all 4 core areas, grades 6 through 8. You can see there hasn't been any change there. Our special class 15-1 for our students that require more intensive support. We offer that grades 6 through 8 for all 4 core areas. We have our special class intensive literacy program for grades 6 through 8. So no real changes there. We continue to have our behavior management classroom at the middle school, predominantly servicing grades 6 through 7. So last year, and I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself, but last year we made the transition at the high school in grades 9 through 12. We transitioned from the self-contained 1212 behavior management classroom to the best strategies resource so that our students are in general education classes. They're accessing the same curriculum as their peers, better preparing them for whatever the exams that they need to take, transition planning, all those different things. So what we did, this is the first year that we now have it in 8th grade at the middle school. So we're slowly building that transition because every student isn't going to require a self-contained behavior classroom. We have students that have social emotional needs that don't require that level of intensive support, but still need the special education support that can be provided in Best Strategies resource. So we continue to have our resource room 6 through 8, resource connection 6 through 8, which is our resource room specifically designed for students with autism. So we're focusing on the social emotional needs of those students with a counseling component. And then this year we added the Best Strategies resource for our students that have a higher level of social emotional need with the counseling component built in there. So they're very similar, but we're meeting the needs of different populations of students to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to help build their capacity and independence. And then we continue to have our Gateway program, which is our 1211, where our students that are alternate assessed. At the high school, we also have a pretty robust continuum. For our ICT, or integrated co-teaching classes, for English and social studies, we have 9 through 12. Since 9 through 12, there's graduation requirements across the board. In math, it's grades 9 through 11, and in science, 9 through 10, depending. You might have juniors and seniors in those classes, but predominantly it's the freshmen and sophomores. We also have our special class 15-1 for ELA. It's grades 9 through 11. Math and science 9 through 10, and then social studies 9 through 11. So we provide the 15-1 intensive support for the classes that students are required to have for graduation, but to also help prepare them for the Regents exams. They do a lot of skill building and writing and preparing in those classes, so it's really targeted to them. We continue to have the 12-1 intensive literacy program at the high school for all 4 grade levels. Our resource rooms, the same as the middle school. Resource room for academic, executive functioning needs. For grades 9 through 12, the resource connections, which addresses needs of students with autism, grades 9 through 12. And then our best strategies. So this year was the first, last year was the first year of that program. We're going into the second year of that program. I know that at our presentation last year, you had asked for some data. I was hoping to wait until the end of the second year, just so that we kind of have a good cohort of students. What I can tell you, though, is this year, we do have some students that we've identified coming into this school year that were recommended for the Best Strategies program. Because again, the self-contained program wasn't right for them, but they still needed that extra level of social emotional support. And it's working well for those students. They're utilizing the program the way it should be utilized. It helps them regulate and have a home base so that if they're struggling, they have a place to go. So at the end of this year, I'll have some more data that I'll be able to provide and share with you as far as how we're progressing so far, and adding the middle school component into that as well, since those 8th graders will be transitioning to 9th grade next year. We also have a series of related services that we provide. Oh, actually, I want to go back for 1 second. So our alt-assessed programs here at the high school, we have our 1211 program, which is our Bridges program. And then we also have our 1511, which is our transition program for students ages 18 to 22. And the one thing that I just wanted to mention about that program is that Sue Byrne has been doing an excellent job preparing those students from their senior year of high school until to transition them to what comes after they leave Ballston Spa High School. They're doing a lot of community outings. They're building their workplace skills. They are participating in programs at the YMCA. They're using the CDTA bus lines. So there's a lot of different things. She's done a great job building that program, and I know she has a lot of great ideas, so I'm excited to see where it goes moving forward. But just a lot in place to really help prepare students for what life after Ballston Spa High School is going to look like for them. As far as our related services, K through 12 plus, we provide speech language therapy, psychological counseling, occupational and physical therapy. We have a robust series of assistive technology services, skilled nursing, and then some other related services. Some we provide ourselves, others we contract with BOCEs, teachers of the visually impaired, teachers of the deaf, orientation and mobility, and then parent counseling and training are all other related services that we also offer across our continuum. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Alicia.
Okay. So students receiving services, we wanted to kind of give a breakdown of how many students we have in the district that have IEPs and 504s. So just kind of give you that example of an IEP versus a 504. So an IEP provides that specialized instruction and related services for students to help them meet their educational goals, specific educational goals. And that 504 plan provides accommodations to ensure the student has equal access to the general education environment. So to be eligible for an IEP, you have to have a disability that meets the requirement of those 13 classifications in IDA. And then for a 504 plan, you have to have any disability that substantially limits a major life activity, such as learning, and interferes with a student's ability to learn in a general education environment. So a breakdown of where we're at right now for this year. Compared to last year, the total number of IEPs that we had was 350 total for our elementary schools. So if you see, we're one off this year. And then for our 504s, last year we had 49. This year we have 58. And our total was for last year 399. This year we're 407. So the big thing that's different from last year to this year is our enrollment. Last year, we were 1,645. This year, we're 1,597. I'm going to pass it back to Dana.
And for secondary, while there's been some shifting in the number of students with IEPs and 504s, our percentages have stayed fairly consistent. Again, with the change in enrollment, also changes the percentage of students. So overall, we have 363 students between the middle and high school that have services through an IEP. That's 16% of our population. That's a 1% decrease from last year. 504s have actually increased quite a bit, but there's been a change in the number between middle and high school. So the students that were in 8th grade transitioned to high school. There weren't as many 6th graders that had 504 plans, so there was a shift from the middle to the high school a little bit, but we have about 7% of our students have 504 plans. And then overall, we have 525 students between the middle and high school that are receiving some type of support for an identified disability. Last year, we were at 24%, so that number has maintained consistent. District-wide, the enrollment, 3,817. We have a total of 745 students with IEPs, 220 students with 504s, for a total of 965, which is 25%, which is a percentage point higher than we were last year. And I realized we lost the 5 on the year there, so sorry about that. We also wanted to share with you the number of students that we have placed out of district. So right now we have 27 students that currently have out of district placements. That's one more than we had last year around this time. We do have more students that are pending placement. Last year, at this time, we had 5 elementary students that were awaiting a placement. CSE had made the determination that an out-of-district placement is appropriate, but we're in the process of exploring the right fit for them. This year, we have 3 elementary students, 4 middle school students, and 1 high school student. The one thing that I will also note that occurred last year, over the course of the year, and I was actually, when we started putting all the numbers together, I was actually surprised it wasn't a little bit higher. We did have quite a few students transfer into us last year that were already outplaced. So our number still being at 27 is still pretty consistent considering the number of transfers that we had last year. And then I thought this would be interesting to share with you. So in a few weeks ago, we completed our State Performance Plan Indicator 13 audit for transition in the IEP with our regional associate. And one of the things that they ask you to do as part of the audit is to provide a breakdown of the demographics of all of the students from 3 to 22, that are receiving services. They look at race and ethnicity, but they also look at disability classification. And I know it's probably hard to see, so I apologize. But what this shows is that the highest percentages of students as far as classifications are students with autism. We have 133 students classified with an autism classification. The one thing I will mention about that is that doesn't mean those are that is the number of students that have an autism diagnosis. There are more students that actually have an autism diagnosis, but based on the Committee on Special Education and what was the most appropriate classification, we have 133 students, or 13% of our students with IEPs. 27%, or 267 of our students, are classified with a learning disability. 252 students are 25% other health impairment. And then speech and language, we have 176 students, and that's 18% of our total. We were actually it was yesterday, I think they were talking about it, we were at a workshop at BOCES, and the numbers that we have in our classifications and where the increases and decreases have been seem to be fairly consistent. We're seeing more students that are being diagnosed with autism, being diagnosed with learning disabilities, even outside of our own psychoeducational evaluations, and then other health impairment as well. So our numbers seem to be fairly consistent with what we're seeing across the region and what we heard yesterday in part of our workshop. And I will transition to Alicia to talk about our goals.
Thank you. All right, so our department goals that we've been working on, this is our statement, our motto. We really live by this. Special education is more than a classroom down the hall where we have to provide services. It's changing how we provide education to students who may need more assistance. By emphasizing inclusion, it not only shapes classrooms, but it also reinforces a fundamental truth that every child, regardless of their abilities, deserves an education that is enriching, empowering, and tailored to their individual needs. So our goal was to provide inclusive practices, provide access and opportunities for students with disabilities to be fully integrated into education settings. And our time frame is 3 years. So our action steps that we've been looking at is providing students with disabilities access to all courses and graduation pathways, provide opportunities for special education and general education teachers to collaborate, adapt classroom environments and materials to be accessible to all of our students, provide training on inclusive practices in the general education classroom setting, implement those proactive and preventative supports and strategies to minimize those exclusionary practices, and increase opportunities for our students to access transition supports and services and participate in that work-based learning. So how we've done so far, we continue to collaborate with building principals, K-12, to expand the access to general education curriculum, programs, and activities. We train that general education staff to participate in the special education process, that least restrictive environment. We've provided training on free and appropriate public education, implementing accommodations and modifications, and those regulatory compliance. So the expansion of the best strategies resource room in the middle school and the high school, We've increased opportunities for students in those self-contained settings to participate in general education classes. Continue to develop continuity for students transitioning from that pre-K through post-secondary education. We've implemented the unified PE at the secondary level, and then we're working with staff on decreasing that reliance on special education aides and promoting student independence. And we've just completed a review with our regional associate on that, so they can help us, give us some guidance on what we need to look at more. Our other goal, ensure that all staff are well-trained and up to date with best practice in education, and our time frame is 2 years. So we've been providing a series of training sessions, workshops for staff and admin, encourage participation in conferences and professional organizations. We continue to provide training for administration and general education staff on supporting students with disabilities. That continued development of our special education handbook and testing accommodation handbook as professional development resource, and develop professional development for special education staff focused on best practices, meeting the needs of students with various diagnoses and disabilities, and meeting increasing social emotional needs with our students. So how we've done so far. We've scheduled dates to provide training to staff and department meetings. Our special education staff have attended workshops and conferences focusing on autism, social emotional needs, mental health, transition to digital evaluation tools, reading interventions, and et cetera. We've trained our elementary staff on the zones of regulation and Superflex. We've coordinated training with Kelsey Smith for our teaching assistants and our special education aides on that evidence-based student de-escalation and prompting. We've provided administrators and special education staff and school counselors with guides on how to write those legally defensible IEPs, 504s, and students with disabilities, discipline for students with disabilities. We have scheduled Dr. Kelly Brock to come for that mandated training on de-escalation. She's completed that with our elementary and our middle school, and then she's coming for our high school. I'm gonna pass it back to Dina.
And our last area for our goals, but definitely not least, is our family and community engagement. We know that this is a job that we can't do. Supporting our students, advocating for our students, providing the supports and services for our students has to be a collaborative effort with our community as well as our families. So our goal is to continue to enhance engagement with families in the community by developing programs that encourage participation and collaboration among stakeholders and community organizations. We do have a time frame of this of 2 years, but this is one of those goals that's probably going to keep rolling, because there's always going to be something we can do more efficiently or better, or come up with new ideas to engage our community and our families in this process. So some of our action steps, we are in the process of developing fully the website. We've been working closely with Melissa and Kelly to help us to do that, and using their expertise. Collaborate with community partners to provide transition and work-based learning opportunities for our students, participating in parents as partners, communicating with families regarding training opportunities by outside organizations, and then we're in the process of also creating a monthly special education newsletter. So what we've fully accomplished, well, I shouldn't say fully, some of the things that we have accomplished so far, but we'll continue working on. Increasing student and family participation in meetings. I think one of the things that we can say as far as the virtual component is having Google Meets available for our families. We have more parental involvement, whether they join the Google Meet or they join by phone. We do have some folks that like to come in for in-person meetings, so we accommodate because we want to make sure that they are participating in the meeting the way they want to be participating in the meeting. And students are more frequently participating in our meetings as well, doing more front-loading work, scheduling ahead of time who the student can be with during the meeting and those different types of things, because we realize that their voice is extremely important in this process. Assisting parents with accessing outside agencies such as OPWDD, coordinating with outside agencies such as the Employment Training Program and planning future work-based learning opportunities. Increasing the ability to provide documentation in multiple languages and translation support for CSE and 504 meetings, and any documentation we're sending home, really. Continue to participate in the Parents as Partners webinar series, and then continue to provide training and resources for families. So one of the things that we've also started doing is sending out information through a school messenger account to our families. I know Melissa has sent out a couple things for us, but really building that parent resource page and the training page on our website, and then disseminating that information also through school messenger. We get a lot of information about different trainings for parents from different organizations, and we want to make sure that we have that information readily accessible. A lot of it is free, which is great. So we're working on streamlining those processes to get that information in the hands of our families a lot quicker. Okay, so we have those 3 goals. We've talked about our continuum and our services. Does anybody have any questions?
That was wonderful. Questions from the board? Start with Kate.
I have a couple questions. Can you give some from your pie chart, can you give some examples of what you mean when you say other health impairments? Because that was a pretty large chunk.
Yeah, so, and you guys can jump in too. So when we talk about other health impairment, what we're looking at in those areas are, students that might have an ADHD diagnosis or an ADD diagnosis, or there's a lot that falls under that overarching classification.
Sometimes a medical diagnosis, a heart condition.
Yep.
Any of
Okay.
those can be under that.
All right, that's
Yep.
interesting. And then you had mentioned transfers that are already placed. So does that mean people move into the district, but they're already outplaced, so they count as a Ballston Spa student, but don't actually come to Ballston Spa?
Correct.
Okay. 2 more.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, just piggybacking on that. And so then we pick up the cost,
Yeah.
and that's completely predicated on where they were and what's already been put in place.
Yeah, and it's still, so we still have a transfer meeting and within 30 days of the transfer, and it's still a determination by the Committee on Special Education if that continues to be the appropriate placement for that student. In most cases, and I don't want to speak for elementary, I can just speak for secondary, there really wasn't a question that that student was appropriate to come back to district just because of the significant needs that they had. They were in the location that they needed to be to access their education. But we do have the transfer meeting to determine, is that truly the most appropriate? Because the other piece of that too is some districts, because every district, there's certain things we have to have on our continuum, but then there are programs by district that are different. Like, there's not a ton of districts that have like a resource connections where they have that resource for students with autism. So there might be a student that is placed out of district because their home district didn't have as broad of a program as we have with services available for their students. So there have been times when students have transferred in, and we were able to meet their needs in district because we had such a wide breadth of a program to provide those services. So it doesn't happen all the time, but this past year it was a little
But
bit
there
more.
is a review process.
Oh,
when they
absolutely.
do.
And we visit them at their out-of-district placements to make sure that they're still appropriate and that we can't meet their needs in district.
Good to know. And then I had a question about the elementary school, the special class reading, the 15-1. That is that's new for this year? No.
No, we've had that.
You've had that. But that's different than is that the class where they used to be pulled out of class but aren't now for reading help?
They are pulled out in a 15-1 setting and get specially designed instruction in the same area of general ed curriculum that they're receiving in the classroom. So
Okay.
they're just pulled out into a smaller setting and receiving it, scaffolded and whatnot.
Great. And those are taught by the reading specialist?
Special education.
Special education teacher. So you have to have an IEP or a 504 to be in that class? Oh,
IEP.
okay, interesting.
Yeah, an IEP.
An IEP? Okay, and then my last question is, at the beginning of the presentation, you mentioned that you were working with the L students. Does that fall under special education here, or, and then what's our percentage of students in the district? And if you could just speak to that a little bit.
I don't know exactly the percentage. I might have to defer to Mr. Prabhakaran for that one. But the one thing that and you guys can, I don't want to need to do up the talking. What we've found over the past few years is we have had students that have been referred to special education where English wasn't their native language. So we have been participating in a lot of different trainings where we're learning about language acquisition and language proficiency, and is it truly a need for specially designed instruction, or do they need more instruction in acquiring the English language? Because what kind of across the region they've been discussing is first the MTSS process and identifying students that need that language acquisition support before they're referred to special education. But if they are referred to special education, how are we determining that it's an actual learning disability or special education need if they're still learning to acquire the English language? We don't have a large percentage. I think we might have 10 students district-wide. Yeah. Because I know it's secondary, but I wasn't sure about elementary. So even, even though it's a small number of students, we want to make sure that we're servicing them and providing them the support that they need. And sometimes the support from special education, while it's valuable, might not be the support that they actually need. So we want to make sure that we are working through the process appropriately to make those delineations. We also last year purchased, it's a PVAT evaluation tool for our psychologists that norms the cognitive evaluation tool against a variety of languages. It's very difficult to find psychologists that are multi or bilingual. And a couple of years ago, we actually hired a psychologist that spoke Spanish that lived in Florida. And it just so happened that we had a student at secondary and elementary at the same time that required a Spanish psychological evaluation. So he did both of them, but they're very difficult to find. And outside of Spanish, it's even harder. So we're looking for different ways to provide those supports and services and do those evaluations internally with our own staff.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions from the board members?
First, just a comment of, or a suggestion to look into AI for the language services. I've seen a lot of success in a couple cases where children and teacher are both using AI to translate, or the kid is going home and using his Chromebook to rewatch the lesson using the translation services that the Chromebook offers on Zoom, whatever it is. And so he reteaches himself when he goes home the whole math lesson. So, but I know that's a lot more complicated when it comes to using, cooperating with unions and everything else. So, but I throw it out there because it has worked in other districts. In terms of graduation rate, I know you've come last year, and I've been watching a little bit the past couple years. Now that you're really established your department, I know you guys had a big task of kind of streamlining everything. I am looking more at the graduation rates at this point and, benchmarks with that, and where are we with goals with that? Are you and the high school principal getting together now to talk about those things? I think the last data we have is 54% of students with special education or students with disabilities graduate with a Regents diploma. I'm happy to see that at least one got an advanced Regents, which I think is amazing. But we do also have 3, 7, 4. It looks like a good 40% or so who are still struggling. So I guess in terms of that now, what are you guys thinking about? How are you partnering with the high school principal, and where are we looking at in the future?
So I think some of the things that we've been looking at there, and that was part of one of the reasons why we transitioned also to the Best Strategies program for that group of students, because what we found is the students that were in the self-contained 12-1-2 program weren't graduating, they were dropping out, they weren't successful on their Regents exams. But holistically, I think we're, one of the areas of struggle. And I don't want to speak for Mr. Robinson, but I think we would probably agree. One of the most significant areas of struggle for our students with disabilities are the Regents exams.
Right.
They can do well in their classes all year. We can prepare them for the exams, and then they sit and take the exam. We have some students that have taken the exams 4, 5, 6 times and still struggle to hit that 55 safety net. I do think we are providing more inclusion opportunities for our students so that they are accessing grade level curriculum. One of the things that we've worked on over the past few years is ensuring that, our students that are in a 15-1 classroom are receiving the same curriculum, working towards the same standards with some, I don't want to say modifications, but it has to be parsed out a little bit to meet their needs. Because we still want them to be successful. We still want them to meet the requirements of the grade level curriculum. And we've been working more towards that, integrating our special education teachers with our general education teachers. I think that's also one of the things that really can have an impact on the success of our students and how they do meeting those graduation requirements. We're collaborating, our special education teachers are collaborating much more with the general education teachers regarding curriculum, preparing students, and just teaching them the standards and the concepts that they need moving forward. We've also talked about the different pathways, the CDOS pathway, and some of those different areas where some of our students might be more geared towards a hands-on experience, and that's what's going to help them, that's what's going to motivate them to move forward. So I think those are some of the things that we're kind of trying to work through. I think over the past couple of years, we've also been able to identify, also with the special education teachers, and also increasing our structure with our transition components, how well we're doing moving our students toward that goal of graduation. I don't know if I answered your question. I think I went in 5 different directions.
Yeah, that's fine. I forgot to mention too, I do know we heard about the portrait of a graduate coming up, and so I immediately thought about your department and how much that's going to influence your students and helping them achieve a meaningful diploma.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see goals be around all that, those things, and how it works out.
Yeah, I will say, historically, I was a CTE teacher, so seeing the changes that they're making, I just saw the information come out last night about the required for the instructional component for personal finance. I was like, well, we've been fighting for that as business teachers for 20 years. It only took 20 years, but I do think that's going to be huge for our students because there are going to be a lot more opportunities for them to engage in their education and show what they know and meet that milestone of graduation, because that's really the goal. We don't want our students getting discouraged and not wanting to come to school or feeling like they're just failing. And while I think we do a good job with the classes, those exams are just such a struggle for them. And it's incredible that you can see a student and have that one exam just holding them back from graduating. So I'm actually looking forward to what the future might hold for our students.
Great. Other questions? I have a couple. Unified PE, so that is special education students and non-special education students?
Correct.
What are we doing to gather feedback from our students on the program?
So I haven't done any of that yet. I've observed the classes a couple of times. I've spoken with the teachers just to kind of get an idea of how it's going. And it's been wonderful for the kids. They all are working together. We have one student in the middle school that has found a group of friends that he wants to go to class with them after PE, and they're really enjoying that time together. So I haven't gathered any data on that yet. It's kind of still in the infancy, but we will be over the time.
Okay, because the feedback from the sports programs is that it's highly beneficial, to all the students
It is,
involved,
yep.
and we're certainly in favor of the unified PE, and I hope the same experience is happening there for our students. Has it enough time gone by to have any sort of lessons learned from it, like possible modifications needed for the program?
I checked in with the PE teachers a couple weeks ago. I was going to wait until they got through a first full quarter with a first full rotation, which will be next week, or it ends this week is the end of the quarter, right? Yeah. Just to see, kind of how things have been going, and if they are finding any areas. There were some areas in the beginning where we realized that there were some different levels of support that we needed to provide for a couple of the students, but we made those adjustments and they got the support that they need, and they were engaged in participating in the PE classes with everybody else. But I think a quarter in is at least a good start to see, how things are going and if we need to make any modifications.
Okay, wonderful. And who is the audience for the special education monthly newsletter? Who's the intended audience?
I think, I don't want to speak for all of the intended audience is going to be our parents and community. It would be something that's posted on the website and that we would send out through School Messenger.
Great. And Dr. Duca, we can make sure that that's available to the board members. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the Special Education 101, how long was that training? Was that an hour, a whole day?
It was an after-school faculty meeting with our staff, so 45 minutes.
Okay. And I don't know if that's been made available to the board members, but can we please make sure that that's available? All right. This is wonderful. Thank you. It's an incredibly important part of our school district. We want to make sure all our students are served, and we thank you very much. And please thank
you.
all of your staff members.
Absolutely, we will do that. Thank you.
Does that conclude the superintendent's
It does.
report? Okay. Committee reports.
Report from the Facilities Committee. We met and really focusing in on the communication strategies to get the word out to all parts of our community about our upcoming vote on our capital project. Dr. Duca has been presenting in multiple venues, so we'll be going to each school, PTA, various constituencies, public meetings, and also posting signage. We'll have a newsletter that will be going out to everyone next week that will contain details about the various improvements in the capital project, and really hoping that folks get the word out and get the put December 9th on their calendars as the vote date. Did I miss anything?
And when are we doing our presentation to the public? That next board meeting?
Correct, yep, the 19th.
Is that before the meeting or in the meeting?
That's gonna be the superintendent's report for the meeting.
Okay.
And you can see the really snazzy visual displays are all there. And do a really nice job, I think, of capturing. I mean, it's a set of pretty complicated projects and timelines, and so I think breaking it down by building and by the different areas that are being focused on, health and safety, athletics, classroom, infrastructure, arts and music, I think that the displays do a really nice job of that.
Wonderful, and we have those as PDFs, right, as well?
Those are all on the website. They're also going to be at my presentations, and each building has its own display in lobbies and high traffic areas.
Excellent. Okay. Correspondence to the district.
We had 4 emails, all related to student matters this time.
And since our last board meeting, we had 1 email to the board regarding transportation. Announcements.
So I will take announcements tonight. Delaney Elliott is not here. On November 10th, we have our emergency release day, K-12. It's a state mandated drill. All students will be released 15 minutes early. Following day, November 11th, no school in honor of Veterans Day. November 12th, we will have a capital project community presentation. I will be in the auditorium at 7 o'clock, high school auditorium, for a community presentation. Our high school winter sports begin on November 17th, and our next board meeting with the official public hearing of the capital project will be November 19th.
Any questions from the board members? Okay. Old business? On to new business. I have a motion to approve resolution number 245, the budget calendar.
So moved.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution 245 passes. I have a motion to approve resolution number 246, establishment of voter registration day.
So moved.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution number 246 passes. I have a motion to approve resolution number 247, appointment of voting machine custodian.
So moved.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution number 247 passes. I have a motion to approve resolution number 248, appointment of chairperson, chief inspectors, and election inspectors.
So moved.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution number 248 passes. I have a motion to approve resolution number 249, agreement, professional services.
So moved.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution number 249 passes. I have a motion to approve resolution number 250, award of bid, aluminum cantilever slide gate replacement.
So moved.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution number 250 passes. I have a motion to approve resolution number 251, obsolete equipment.
So moved.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Resolution number 251 passes. May I have a motion to approve resolution number 252, placement of students with disabilities.
So moved.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution number 252 passes. I have a motion to approve resolution number 253, placement of preschool students with disabilities.
So moved.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution number 253 passes. Resolutions number 254 through 268 are recognized as a consent agenda for the purpose of Board of Education action. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, resolutions number 254 through 268?
So moved.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Consent agenda passes. Do we have anyone in person to recognize? All right. Inside this consent agenda, we just have our appointments for our volunteers for the Odyssey of the Mind programs. Just want to again thank all those who volunteer for that program and all of our other volunteers for all of our programs. Your support helps make these happen for our students. Any new business? New business from the district? New business from board members? see, we do have some association representation. Any comment from our associations? Okay. Do have some PTSA and PTA information. So in the month of October, we had our book fairs and trunk or treat events and others events. We want to thank all the volunteers who helped make them possible. In our middle school, our fall fundraiser items will be available for pickup this Friday, 4:30 to 6:30. Items must be picked up on Friday during this time frame. We don't have space to store the refrigerated or frozen items. There is a fundraiser tonight at the Panera in Malta for the DC trip. Goes on till 8 p.m. We still have 7 minutes to get there. And their fundraiser, November 13th, Thursday, there's going to be a dine to donate at the Speckled Pig. Gordon Creek PTA, next board meeting, they're excited to welcome Dr. Duca. We're going to have the meeting virtual on Thursday, November 13th at 7 p.m. And there's going to be detail about the capital project and a Q&A session. Malta Avenue PTA, they just had a meeting last night. Their next meeting is December 2nd. Their meetings are virtual. They are looking for event chairs for a number of events coming up. Malta parents and caregivers, please help them out. And the Malta Avenue's Got Talent show is December 10th. Milton Terrace, their next meeting is tomorrow, November 6th at 6 p.m. They're going to be finalizing plans for some November and December activities, and there'll be a presentation by Superintendent Duca on the upcoming capital project. Their turkey shoot fundraiser starts this coming Monday, 11/10. Their holiday shop and holiday trivia night is going to be Wednesday, December 10th. And Wood Road PTA, their Scotty's Dance Party is kicking off soon, attempting to raise money for field trips, school-wide events. Save the dates. Stay tuned for more details on how you can support their cause. Registration online is going to be on 10/27, beginning 10/27. The fundraiser kickoff in school starts November 10th. And their event days are November 17th through November 21st. And every student will participate during their gym classes, and they're going to have fun.
Just to clarify,
Oh.
the turkey shoot is, I'm 99% sure, basketball. Just to clarify that for everyone around. Don't want any emails about that.
No animals will be
No
harmed.
animals are harmed at the elementary school event.
Thank you for that clarification.
got eyes, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew.
I never thought actual turkeys were involved. But we trust our elementary schools. Okay, thank you. That is our PTSA PTA report. I believe we are at the next time for public comment. Do we have public comment tonight? We do not. And so we are ready to adjourn. As Dr. Duca said, our next meeting will be on Wednesday, November 19th. We will not have executive session tonight. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for watching on the live stream.